everybody. I'm gonna wait just a couple minutes till we get some people to join us. I am currently still working on it, going through doing some little edits, looking for places that I should have striked out that I missed. Hello, hello. Hi, Daniel. How are you? I'm waiting a couple minutes before I get into this too far. Polar Pop, have a huge old soda when you're working on stuff like this. You gotta stay awake, not get bored. Right now, I'm just going through and making sure I didn't miss any words that needed struck through or underlined. I think you guys are going to be really happy with this. Once I've gone through and made sure of all the language and everything, I will be posting it. That should be sometime tonight or tomorrow. So what we have here is I think that I believe that I have eliminated the need for adding new sections. Oh, hey, those of you that are watching, go ahead and invite your Second Amendment supportive friends to watch this video, even if they're not members of the group. But what I've done is I went through and I did strike-throughs on small sections of language and added a few words here and a few words there to change the meaning of the law. And I changed a few things that weren't included in 1639. The area of reciprocity. I amended it. A person licensed to carry a pistol in a state other than this state is authorized to carry a concealed pistol in this state if the licensing state does not issue concealed pistol licenses to persons under 21 years of age, and the licensing state requires mandatory fingerprint-based background checks of criminal history. I struck out and mental health history. And the reason that I left the age at 21, and I'm really, really sad about this, is because as of right now, I am completely unsure about conflicting with federal laws. And right now, federal law states you have to be 21. I believe. And please correct me if I'm wrong on that. And if that's the case, if I'm wrong on it, I will strike it out and change it back to 18. I would like nothing more than for anybody 18 and older to be able to own firearms. Because I just don't find that it makes any sense for them to not be able to. If they can vote and they can change the laws in our nation and they can shape, that's my cat. They can shape the future of our nation by voting, and they can go to war for our country in other countries, then why can't they have a gun? You know, but all right, so under 9.41.075, concealed pistol license revocation, this section is amended to read as follows. The license shall be revoked by the license issuing authority immediately upon. Now, here's where I changed it. I struck out subsection 1A completely, which says discovery by the issuing authority that the person was ineligible for a concealed pistol license when applying for the license or license renewal. You know what? It's not the fault of the person if they failed if the authority figures failed to do their due diligence. So I didn't like that. So I took that out. Conviction of the licensee or the licensee being found not guilty by reason of insanity. Yeah, I do think that, if they're ineligible to possess a firearm, they shouldn't have a concealed carry license. To me, that's just redundant and stupid. Under 2A and 2B, subsection 2 of this section, 9.41.075, I completely repealed subsection 2. It's gone. Unless a person may lawfully possess a pistol without a concealed pistol license, an ineligible person whom a concealed pistol license was issued shall, within 14 days of license revocation, lawfully transfer ownership of it. Again, why should they have to give up their guns when they were given permission to do it in the states, or in the state, or law enforcement says, oops, no, we made a mistake. I don't like that. So I took that whole subsection out. It's not our fault that they made a mistake. Why should we have to suffer because of a clerical error or because of laziness on their part? Not happening. No. And then 9.41.080, I struck that entire section out. That section will be repealed. Delivery to ineligible persons. No person may deliver a firearm to any person whom he or she has reasonable cause to believe is ineligible to possess a firearm. No person may deliver a firearm to, it was amended by 1639, effective January 1st, 2019. No person may deliver a firearm to any person whom he or she has reasonable cause to believe, 1, is ineligible to possess a firearm, or 2, has signed a valid voluntary waiver of firearm rights that has not been revoked under RCW 9.41.350. Any person violating this section is guilty of a Class C felony. I don't like that. Hey, what's the defense against that? We sell or transfer firearms, and I'll tell you why this is relevant here in a second, because I did a little thing. I amended a section later on down here that reenacts private firearm sales. Again, don't know about the federal laws regarding that, but yeah. So I took this entire section, delivery to ineligible persons, out, because it would, it would hold a person who might be trying to help someone out or might be trying to do them a favor. It would hold them accountable for a Class C felony crime. It would be a felony crime. It just doesn't make sense to me. 9.41.090, dealer deliveries regulated. Hold on delivery. In addition to the other requirements of this chapter, this section is amended to read as follows. In addition to the other requirements of this chapter, no dealer may deliver a pistol to the purchaser thereof until, originally it said the purchaser produces a valid concealed pistol license and the dealer has recorded the purchaser's name, license, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to have to produce a valid concealed pistol license to buy a gun. Okay? So I took the subsection 1A of .090 completely out. And it's effective until July 1st. And then down here in 1639, they amended it with 1639 and made it effective July 1st. So I took out the word pistol and said firearm because, say we get the signatures we need for our initiative, and say we get the registered voters to show up and vote for it. Let's just say, think optimistically, okay? Say it happens. If we don't change words like pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle to firearm, they can then come in and take away our shotguns. Okay, so just firearms. It covers all of them and protects all of them, so they can't take it away later. Again, subsection 1A I took out, and under 1639, subsection 1B, again, this is in section 090 of 9.41. Okay. Oh, also, I changed, so I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, so subsection 1A, subsection 1B, subsection 1C, and subsection 2A are all stricken and repealed. All right? And so it now reads, in addition to the other requirements of this chapter, no dealer may deliver a firearm to the purchaser thereof until, and then we scroll all the way down, the dealer is notified in writing by the chief of police or the sheriff of the jurisdiction in which the purchaser resides. The purchaser is eligible to possess a firearm, and that the application to purchase is approved by the chief of police or sheriff under 1639, or the state is included in this little section. So I struck that out, just like I said I was going to. Or C, the requirements or time periods have been satisfied. All right. Subsection 3A, except as provided in B of this subsection, in determining whether the purchaser meets the requirements, the chief of police or sheriff or the designee of either shall check with the National Crime Information Center, including the National Instant Criminal Background Check System provided for by the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act, the Washington State Patrol Electronic Database, and here's where I amended it. I struck out the Healthcare Authority Electronic Database and with other agencies or resources as appropriate. They don't have any rights to check our medical records, our mental health records, our medical records. They don't need to know what medications we're on. You know, it's just like driving a car. They don't need to know that crap unless we do something stupid, right? Then they can drug test us and determine if we're under the influence and if we have a prescription for it. If we have a prescription for it, you know, it shouldn't be used against us, right? And then in subsection 3B, I struck that out completely. It's repealed. Subsection 5, I struck out the state and pending commitment proceedings. Pending commitment proceedings. The reason I struck that out is because if a commitment proceeding has been filed, then it's now pending. Okay? And again, you guys all know due process, right? Until that person is committed involuntarily, they maintain their rights. They maintain their firearms. Okay? Let's see. I also struck out or the state in the sentence if the records of disposition have not yet been reported or entered sufficiently to determine eligibility to purchase a firearm, the lowest local jurisdiction may hold the sale and delivery of the firearm up to 15 days. I changed it from 30 to 15. So now they only have 15 days to confirm and to hold the sale. Okay, they have 15 days. Instead of 30, instead of waiting a full month, now we only wait 15. They have to get their job done, right? Why shouldn't they have to do their job? After 15 days, the hold will be lifted unless an extension of the 15 days is approved by a local district court, superior court, or municipal court for good cause shown. A dealer shall be notified of each hold placed on the sale by local law enforcement, I struck out, or the state, and of any application to the court for additional hold period to confirm records or confirm the identity of the applicant. Subsection 6A, I changed pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle to firearm. All right, and under the definition section, it's because I took out the definition of semi-automatic assault rifle completely. The purchaser shall sign in duplicate instead of triplicate. I struck out triplicate, added duplicate, and deliver to the dealer an application containing his or her full name, residential, blah, blah, blah. A description of the firearm, including the make, model, caliber, and manufacturer's number. The purchase of a firearm, if available at the time of applying for the purchase of a firearm. If the manufacturer's number is not available at the time of applying for purchase of a firearm, the application may be processed, but delivery of the firearm to the purchaser may not occur unless the manufacturer's number is recorded on the application by the dealer and transmitted to the chief of police of the municipality or the sheriff of the county in which the purchaser resides. And I struck out the state here as well. 4. Under subsection 6A, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Provision 6, I struck through and repealed it. Okay. Letter B under provision 6. I struck through the word "to" warnings. And the application shall contain a warning. Basically just taking it back. Hi, how are you tonight? Hi, Brian, how are you? All right, so now we're down to part C of subsection Part C of subsection 6. The dealer shall, by the end of the business day, sign and attach his or her address and deliver a copy of the application and such other documentation as required under subsection 1 and 2 of this section to the chief of police or the municipality or the sheriff of the county of which the purchaser is a resident, struck out the state pursuant to subsection 3B of this section. The triplicate shall be retained by the dealer for 6 years. Okay, so why is the dealer retaining it for 6 years if they're not keeping a record of who has the guns? That's the only reason they would need to, is they'd have to go to the dealer and look into all of the dealer's records of firearm sales. We don't want them to do that, so those dealers are going to get to destroy those records, right? That's what this allows them to do. They don't have to keep it. They can toss it in the trash once it's been completely processed. The dealer shall deliver the firearm, and firearm is underlined. Again, pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle is stricken out to the purchaser following the period of time specified in this chapter. That means 10 business days. All right, 10 business days is how long they have to clear a background check. Okay? Whichever is applicable, in writing by the chief of police, the sheriff, or the state is stricken out. Hi, Scott. The chief of police of the municipality or the sheriff of the county or the state pursuant to subsection 3B of this section shall retain or destroy applications to purchase a firearm in accordance with the requirements of 18 USC section 922. Well, guess what? They can destroy those. So I struck out retain or and left destroy applications. So this, It now reads, the chief of police of the municipality or the sheriff of the county, pursuant to subsection 3B, no, that's the state, shall destroy applications to purchase a firearm in accordance with the requirements of 18 USC section 922. And the reason that I'm allowed to say destroy is because that code allows for destroying of those records. Okay, the United States Code that I just quoted to you, it allows for destroying of those records currently. That might change. And then subsection 7 is stricken out and repealed. That's the part about offsetting the administrative costs of implementing this section as it relates to new requirements for semi-automatic assault rifles. Well, semi-automatic assault rifles, it's all done. It's all repealed, right? So we don't need to pay any extra fees because it doesn't apply because it's going to be repealed, right? Once it's voted through. And this will, I fully believe that it will get voted through. Hi, Ronnie. All right, so then we have licensed dealer deliveries, background checks, section .092. This might be kind of a long live, guys, and I'm really sorry, but we've got a lot of material to cover. This is the entire chapter 9.41 regarding firearms, so got a lot of material to cover. All right, so this section is amended to read as follows, and this was effective until January 1st, 2019. So again, this is 594. Except as otherwise provided in this chapter, a licensed dealer must, I underlined must, that's a new word, and I struck out may not, deliver any firearm to a purchaser or transferee once is underlined the earlier of the following occur. The results of all required background checks are known and the purchaser or transferee is not prohibited from owning or possessing a firearm under federal or state law. Or 10 business days have elapsed from the date the licensed dealer requested the background check. Okay? So they have to release the firearm to us in 10 business days, whether they get the background check back or not. Not my problem. Do your job, right? It's not on the dealers either. That would be on law enforcement. They need to do the background checks as they get them. Okay? That's how I feel about it. All right? Now, under 1639, all right, so what I did here is the provisions of 594 were amended. The provision of 1639, effective January 1st, 2019, licensed dealer deliveries background checks, is completely repealed. I struck out the whole section. All right. Now we have licensed dealer deliveries background checks, effective July 1st, 2019. Okay. I struck out except for semi-automatic assault rifles under subsection 2 of this section. A licensed dealer must deliver any firearm to a purchaser or transferee once the earlier of the following occur. The results of all required background checks are known and the purchaser or transferee is not prohibited from owning or possessing a firearm under federal or state law. And does not have a voluntary waiver of firearm rights currently in effect, or 10 business days have elapsed from the date the licensed dealer requested the background check. That's where it ends. Now, in the actual text, you'll see, however, for sales and transfers of pistols, if the purchaser or transferee does not have a valid permanent Washington driver's license or state of ID card or has not been a resident of the state for the previous consecutive 90 days, the time period in this section will be extended from 10 business days to 60. All right. And then subsection 2 is struck out and repealed also. So, however, for sale, blah, 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 That's all stricken out as well. And that is to provide for interstate sales, interstate commerce, right? Waiver of confidentiality, 9.41.094. Effective until July 1st, 2019. Signed application to purchase a pistol shall constitute a waiver of confidentiality and written request that the healthcare authority, mental health institutions, and other healthcare facilities release to an inquiring court or law enforcement agency information relevant to the applicant's eligibility to purchase a pistol to an inquiring court or law enforcement. Okay, so the waiver of confidentiality is repealed. Bottom line. And I repealed it effective July 1st, 2019. I repealed that as well. Supplying informations on persons purchasing pistols or applying for concealed pistol licenses. This section is repealed. I'm just going to go through the ones that are repealed. I'm not going to read the text. I'm just going to tell you that they are repealed. I will be uploading this file to the Files tab of our group page, and you all will be able to look at it there. But 9.41.097 is completely repealed. Officials and agencies immunity. Okay? This is where it talks about how none of the government can be held responsible for wrongfully confiscating our firearms, wrongfully revoking our permits, or wrongfully issuing a firearm to somebody who they should not have issued it to. Okay? Somebody who they should not have given the permit to. Somebody who's obviously very, 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 very prone to committing crimes with firearms. All right? I repealed it. .0975 is repealed. Okay? So now they're completely responsible. We can hold them completely responsible. All right. So, .098, forfeiture of firearms, disposition, confiscation. Subsection 1A, found concealed on a superior courts and the courts of limited jurisdiction of the state may order forfeiture of a firearm which is proven to be found concealed on a person not authorized to carry a concealed pistol, provided that it is an absolute defense to forfeiture if the person possessed a valid Washington concealed pistol license within the preceding 2 years and has not become ineligible for a concealed pistol license in the interim. Now, I've stricken out before the firearm may be returned, the person must pay the past due renewal fee and the current renewal fee. Now, why is that? Why is that? Any firearm which is commercially sold to any person without an application as required by blah, blah, blah. Again, somebody else's clerical error should not punish somebody who's trying to exercise their Second Amendment rights. Okay? In the possession of a person who is in any place in which a concealed pistol license is required and who is under the influence of any drug or under the influence of intoxicating liquor. Here's the deal, okay? So they can confiscate our firearms if we're under the influence of a prescription drug, right? Okay. Or if we've had a glass of wine, then they find us with a gun or a beer, a single glass of wine or a single beer, and they're going to take our gun. I don't think so. So, subsection 1E is repealed. Completely taken out. Okay? And like I said, while I'm reading this to you, I'm going through and I'm making sure I haven't missed any language that needs to be taken out. Subsection 2A, except as provided in B, C, and D of this subsection, firearms that are judicially forfeited and no longer needed for evidence or forfeited due to a failure to make a claim. Okay, so we're going to forfeit our firearms because we didn't make it into them to make a claim on time? No, I don't think so. So I struck that part out. It's Roman numeral 2 under subsection 2A. And then, let's see. And then we have all the stuff about dealer licensing. True record and duplicate shall be made of every firearm sold in a book kept for the purpose, the form of which may be prescribed by the director of licensing and shall be personally signed by the purchaser, by the person effecting the sale, each in the presence of other, and shall contain the date of sale, blah, blah, blah. Here it had previously said triplicate. All right, 1 copy shall within 6 hours be sent by certified mail to the chief of police. The duplicate, the dealer shall within 7 days send to the director of licensing. The triplicate, actually, no, I don't like that. I think the duplicate should be stricken out as well, so that they're not sending that to the Department of Licensing, because they, people keep saying they aren't keeping records, but here's my beef. That right there says that they're keeping a record. They are. The Department of Licensing is keeping a record. No, I don't like that. Subsections 2 through 9 of this section shall not apply to sales at wholesale. All right, so then we have the 1639 provision of that same thing. The changes are the same. Save for I struck out semi-automatic assault rifle. Okay. In conducting business temporarily at a location other than the building designated in the license, the dealer shall comply with all other requirements imposed on dealers by RCW 941.090, 941.100, and this section. I struck out and this section. Okay. The license of a dealer who, and then under subsection 8A, no firearm. I struck out pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle and added firearm. May be sold in violations of any provisions of RCW 941.10 through 941.810, nor may a pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle, I struck out those two, be sold under any circumstances unless the purchaser is personally known to the dealer. Unless, okay, so personally known to the dealer is stricken out. So the way it reads is no firearm may be sold under any circumstances unless the purchaser shall present clear evidence of his or her identity. Simplifies it. We show them our ID, they can sell us a gun. Okay? And this protects you dealers. Okay? Subsection 9 is completely repealed. A true record and triplicate shall be made of every pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle sold in a book kept for the purpose, the form of which may be prescribed by the director of licensing, personally signed by the purchaser and the person effecting the sale, each in the presence of the other, and shall contain the date of sale, the caliber, make, model, manufacturer's number of the weapon, the name, address, occupation, and place of birth of the purchaser, and a statement signed by the purchaser. Yeah, see, that's the record right there. That's the record. I took that whole section out. They don't have any right to keep those records. Okay? They don't need to keep those records. Anyway, so firearm sales or transferred background check requirements. Exceptions. Effective until July 1st, 2019. So we scroll down past that. All right, firearm sales or transferred background checks, requirements, exceptions, effective July 1st, 2019. This section is amended to read as follows. All firearm sales or transfers in whole in this state, a sale or transfer where both the purchaser and seller or transferee and transferor are a resident in Washington shall be subject to background checks unless specifically exempted by state or federal law. Background check requirement applies to sales or transfers, including sales and transfers through a licensed dealer at gun shows. I struck out, but not limited to, and I struck out online and between unlicensed persons. This is where that one that I was telling you guys about earlier comes in. All right, I added a new subsection. Subsection 3 now reads, where neither party to a prospective firearms transaction is a licensed dealer, the parties to the transaction shall complete the sale or transfer as follows. A, both parties shall obtain a criminal background check of the purchaser through the Washington State Patrol database. That way we have control of our own background checks. We obtain them. We don't have to worry about anybody else looking into our background, right? Not anybody else's business. Upon receipt of the request for a background check for a private firearm transfer or purchase, the Washington State Patrol will, within 24 hours, do a background check using the NICS. Letter C, upon receipt of a cleared NICS check and a verified background check from the Washington State Patrol, the parties may complete the purchase or transfer of the firearm. Okay? I completely struck out and repealed letter A, B, and C, and D, and E under this subsection. All right? And then letter G, Roman numeral 2, if the temporary transfer occurs and the firearm is kept at all times at an established, that is stricken out as well because it shouldn't be an exception for the temporary transfer to take place where you have to keep your gun at a shooting range or another authorized facility. Okay, it makes no sense to me. All right. And then we have Roman numeral 6. While hunting, if the hunting is legal in all places where the person to whom the firearm is transferred possesses a firearm and the person to whom the firearm is transferred has completed all training and holds all licenses or permits required for such hunting. Okay, so what, a 12-year-old is going to have a license and a permit to hunt? A 12-year-old is going to have gone through, I mean, it's common sense, they should, but why should, you know, there's criminal penalties for this. So why would a 12-year-old get charged as a criminal for not having the proper training or licensing? Why should his parents get charged as criminals for wanting to teach their kid to hunt? I don't like that. Firearm sales or transfers, denial of application report, dealer's duties. It's not the dealer's duty to report a denial of application as far as I'm concerned. So I repealed that whole section. Out-of-state purchasing. This section is amended to read as follows. Residents of Washington may purchase rifles and shotguns in a state other than Washington, provided that such residents conform to the applicable provisions of the Federal Gun Control Act of 1968, administered by the United States Secretary of the Treasury. Right? So that means we can go outside of Washington State and buy our guns if we want. Okay? Everything else in here is stricken out. Residents of a state other than Washington, oh, they can come here too, may purchase any firearm in Washington provided Yep, they can purchase here. Purchasing of rifles and shotguns by non-residents. Under 1639, residents of a state other than Washington may purchase rifles and shotguns, except those firearms defined as semi-automatic assault rifles in Washington, provided that such residents conform to the applicable provisions of Federal Gun Control Act 1968, as administered by the United States Secretary of the Treasury, and provided further that such residents are eligible to purchase or possess such weapons in Washington and in the state in which such person resides, and provided further that such residents are subject to the procedures and background checks required by this chapter. Well, the procedures and background checks required by this chapter have pretty much been eviscerated with my initiative. So I struck all of that out. All right. And then record keeping requirements. Effective until July 2019. This section is repealed. That's 941.129. It's repealed. And the 1639 provisions of it are also repealed. Has to do with records of applications for concealed pistol licenses. So for I know some of you were arguing that no, they don't keep records. No, they don't have any records. Yes, they do. They're in the Department of Licensing. That is where they're storing every record of every firearm purchase made is in the Department of Licensing. Okay? It's all right here. It's all right here. It was initiated by 594. Okay? And it continued with 1639. So no, we're getting rid of all those records. They don't need to keep those. And then via Department of Licensing, authority to adopt rules is repealed. It is a Class C felony for any person who is not, now we're at 171, regarding alien possession of firearms. This means alien possession of firearms means non-U.S. citizens. Okay? I had a really big problem with this initially. To me, having non-U.S. citizens possessing guns is where half of our crime, if not more, comes from. So, it is Class C felony for any person who is not a citizen. This section is amended to read: Class C felony for any person who is not a citizen of the United States to carry or possess any firearm. Period. All right? So, 173, alien possession of firearms, alien firearm license. Political subdivisions may not modify requirements. This section is repealed. Okay? No, I'm not racist. No, I'm not against immigration. But if they're not a United States citizen, they don't need to have a gun that they can take back and forth across the border with them. No. So they can come here, purchase firearms, and go down and sell them to the cartel in Mexico? No. 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 Alien possession of firearm, possession without license, conditions. There don't need to be any special conditions where they can have possession of a gun without a license, let alone with one. No, it's repealed. Unlawful firearms, exceptions. All right, so here's where it kind of got where I was hacking and chopping a little bit. I struck out short-barreled shotgun or short-barreled rifle all the way through this section. I also struck out bump stocks all the way through this section. This is a section unlawful firearms. Okay? Because those are not unlawful to me. Yeah, I know. Sawed-off shotguns and sawed-off rifles, you know, they've been illegal for a while according to federal law. But why are they illegal according to federal law? It's just more gun control. Unlawful firearms and parts contraband. I struck out short-barreled shotguns, short-barreled rifles, and bump stocks. Okay? From this whole section. This section is amended to read as follows. Use of machine gun or bump fire stock in felony. I struck out this entire section and I added new text. Simple, plain English. It is unlawful for any person to use any firearm in the commission of any crime. Any crime committed with a firearm shall be considered a Class A felony and shall be punishable in accordance with Chapter 9A RCWs. Okay, so right? Any crime committed with a gun should be a felony, a high felony, and get high penalties. Right? So, this previously use of machine gun or bump fire stock in felony. So it's only a Class A felony if they use a machine gun or a bump fire stock. It's not a Class A felony if someone puts a gun to my head and rapes me. But it is if they use a machine gun. I don't buy that either. So it is any firearm in the commission of any felony crime is a Class A felony. Okay? So they don't get to pick and choose which guns qualify as a Class A felony. Okay? They all are. They all are. That puts the responsibility back on the criminals, not on law-abiding citizens. So then, aiming 230, aiming or discharging firearms, dangerous weapons. Section is amended to read as follows. Any person who aims any firearm, it used to say whether loaded or not. Now it says loaded. I struck out whether and then or not. At or towards any human being. So if it's not loaded, and I pick up my handgun and I'm going to show it to my friend, right? And it's not loaded, and I hold it out and it points at somebody behind my friend. Get this. Under this, okay, it is a crime. It's a crime. It's a misdemeanor crime. So I changed it so that it only says loaded. You point a loaded gun at somebody? Yeah, that's a pretty stupid move. But an unloaded gun at somebody, that's, you could unwittingly do that. That's not something, you know, especially if a person is learning and just starting their training, you know. Possession of pistol by person from 18 to 21, effective until January 1st, 2019. Section is repealed. A person, possession of pistol or semi-automatic assault rifle by person from 18 to 21. Section is amended to read as follows. A person under 18 years of age may, a person under, I need to fix that. Whoops. A person under 21 years, here, I'm going to fix it right now. Under 21 years of age may purchase a pistol or may purchase a firearm may possess a firearm, may purchase and possess a firearm. That's what it now says. The rest of it I've stricken out. I'm going to have to do a little bit of work on the language in that, I can see. Dangerous weapons. The there's only a couple of places where firearms are even mentioned. Possessing dangerous weapons on school facilities. Penalties, exceptions. It is unlawful for a person to carry on to or to possess on public or private elementary or secondary school premises, school-provided transportation, or areas of facilities while being used exclusively by public or private schools. A, any firearm. I struck out any firearm. Okay? This is going to allow the schools to arm their teachers. Subsection 6, except as provided in subsection 3B, C, F, and H of this section, firearms are not permitted in a public or private school building. I struck that out. Subsection 7, gun-free zone signs. Struck that out too. Why advertise? There's free prey inside for those that are planning a massive school shooting. Why advertise that our kids are unprotected? Get rid of those gun-free zone signs. Okay. State preemption. This section is repealed. What that does is it allows all counties to individually decide what firearm laws they want to enact. As long as they line up with federal, that way, King County doesn't want any guns in their county. Cool, they can have no guns, but the rest of the state can have our weapons. Thank you. And when all the criminals move over to King County, maybe they'll change their minds. Let's see. We're almost done with this, guys. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I know it's been a long live. Scrolling through. Okay, we're almost to the secure gun storage sections. All right. All of the stuff about registering as a felony firearm offender. Yep, I think they need to. That way, everybody knows who is the criminal that is going to have their guns. Who's the criminal, right? We want to know who the rapists are. Why not want to know who committed rape with a gun? Why not want to know who committed armed robbery with a gun? We want to know those things. We have a right to know those things. Informing the public is part of keeping the public safe, correct? I can't see your guys' comments right now. Voluntary waiver of firearm rights. I have repealed that section. Effective January 1st of 2019. All right, RCW 9.41.360, unsafe storage of a firearm, effective July 1st, 2019. This section is repealed. Yes, Shanoa, I'm okay. That's my daughter. She's supposed to be sleeping. So yeah, I left no part of that unstricken. It's all repealed. Firearm security and storage. Requirements for dealers. This section is repealed. Right? Completely stricken. We're almost finished. Almost finished. Alright. Voluntary surrender of firearms. That's it, guys. We're done. Okay? I am going to share this on the files page. Thank you to everybody who watched the whole way through. If you missed part of it, feel free to go back and rewatch it. I am going to post this to our page under the Files section. Make sure you click on it. It is a Word document, so make sure that you have Microsoft Word or what have you so that you can open it. But that is what we have. That is what I have thus far. I just need to finish the headings. The amendments are done. The strike-throughs are done. I've got the $5 to file it in my pocket right now. I just have to finish typing up the headings, which I will finish either tonight or tomorrow. The headings that cite which section is repealed and which section is amended. Yeah. So we've got the state preemption repealment in there. We've got, and yeah, one subject. That subject being public safety and bringing our laws into accordance with the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. One subject. Chapter 9.41 is all about firearms. The subject is firearms. Law, and maybe go a little bit further and say firearms and the use by law-abiding citizens. Got to specify citizens. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to get off of here. Go ahead and, share this video with your friends. And I hope you guys all had a really good holiday. I know I did. I really enjoyed the family time. And this thing is almost done. We're going to do this. As soon as I file it and hear back about its certification, we will be sending out petition forms to all of those of you who volunteered to collect signatures. Thank you. Please, please, please private message me your email address so that I can email you a printable file, printable copies of the petition sheets. We're going to start gathering signatures as soon as this thing is certified. All right, which they have to do within a certain number of days. And then we have all the way until July to get the 252,900 something signatures. That's all we need. Excuse me. And we can do it, guys. We can do it if we all work together, right? We're going to do this. All right, love you guys. See you soon.